Hi, I'm Ken Murdoch, and this is the GDB Network. There's rarely a day, and certainly never a week, when there's nothing alarming or consequential happening in this country because of decisions made by Donald Trump. This past week has been no exception. First, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has implemented a new policy affecting anyone in the press who covers the Pentagon. The new policy states that the reporters who decline to agree to the new rules will lose their credentials that allows them access to the building. The most brazen detail in the new policy states that the Department of War information that the reporters gather must be approved for public release by an appropriate authorizing official before it is released, even if it is unclassified. Advocates for a free press are understandably concerned that this new policy is an assault on free and independent journalism. National Press Club President Mike Balsamo said, "If the news about our military must first be approved by the government, then the public is no longer getting independent reporting." Mr. Balsamo's statement is correct. If those being reported on can control what information reaches the public, it undermines both objectivity and the ability to present a complete account. It is past time to call Trump's bluff on his personal vendetta against the press. The press, all of them, should refuse to sign the document agreeing to the policy. The press should be free to report on Pentagon matters without oversight or interference from within the building. No press reporting can be free and independent if the source of the story has censorship power over what is written. Should all parties decline to sign the document and reporters abstain from their usual duties? The Pentagon would be left in an untenable situation, contradicting the very freedoms it is meant to defend. The second item of concern is regarding Tom Homan, the White House border czar. Homan has not outright denied claims that he received a bag containing $50,000 in cash, even though a truthful denial should be simple to make. MSNBC reported that Homan took $50,000 in cash in a kava bag from an undercover FBI agent posing as someone who wanted to get government contracts in Trump's second term. When asked by Fox News' Laura Ingraham about the incident, Homan responded with these words. He said, "Look, I did nothing criminal. I did nothing illegal. And there's hit piece after hit piece after hit piece. And I'm glad the FBI and the Department of Justice said that nothing illegal happened, so no criminal activity." Homan's response to Ingram's question does not pass the smell test, as he neither confirmed nor denied what he was reportedly caught on camera doing. It would have been so easy to say, "I did not take the money." But if there is a video of him doing what he's claimed that he did not do, he cannot deny it with any confidence that his denial will never be refuted. So if he did take the money, what was his justification for doing so? This is not just a minor procedural detail that needs to be resolved. If he accepted the money and he has no rational explanation for doing so, he should be prosecuted for bribery. A bag with $50,000 in cash in it is not a trifling, inconsequential sum of money that anyone hands out for no good reason. The third news item that occurred this week is one that reminds of that unforgettable moment in Trump's first term, in the height of the COVID pandemic, when he stood in front of the cameras with a straight face, asking if perhaps drinking disinfectant or bleach might be an effective COVID treatment. Dr. Anthony Fauci was on the stage when he asked this ridiculous question, and Fauci's face instantly had a look of incredulity on hearing Trump's words. This time, however, the topic was autism and its possible causes, and it got crazy quickly. Standing in front of the cameras with his Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Trump and Kennedy claimed that there is a link between pregnant women taking Tylenol and their babies developing autism. This link is not supported by any credible medical authority, group, or agency. The evidence is anecdotal at best, and none of it is supported by peer-reviewed, rigorous scientific tests and outcomes. The most laughable, if it was not so medically ridiculous, marker of these conspiracy theorist falsehoods is how they attempt to use correlation as causation. But they do it because there's always a ready and sizable group of willing listeners who eagerly jump on the bandwagon. One well-known example of how correlation and causation are not always related is the valid statistic that more drownings occur during the times of the year when ice cream sales are at their highest. That doesn't even suggest that eating ice cream causes drowning. It just happens that ice cream sales are at their peak during the hottest time of the year, summer, when it's also the time of the year that more people participate in water sports. In a previous post, I asked the question if it was asking too much for our president to act presidential. This Tylenol fiasco was exactly the type of scenario I was referring to, and Trump jumped in with both feet, looking like a clown in the process, as he implored pregnant women not to take Tylenol. And finally, President Trump has finally cajoled his Department of Justice into issuing an indictment of James Comey, ostensibly for lying to Congress and for obstructing Congress. Trump has stopped even pretending that he is seeking righteous retribution. Before he fired Eric Siebert, whom Trump had appointed to the position as U.S. Attorney for the part of Virginia that was investigating Comey, Siebert expressed serious doubts that the government had a case against Comey. Trump has publicly implored Attorney General Pam Bondi to seek indictments against Comey and Letitia James. The federal grand jury that issued the Comey indictments did so only on 2 of 3 charges that the DOJ pursued. It's important to remember that being indicted does not mean someone is guilty. The standard for issuing an indictment is much lower than what's required for a conviction. It's probable that Comey anticipated this eventuality and has been making appropriate preparations in advance. He has declared his innocence and said in response to the charges, "I have great confidence in the federal justice system, and I'm innocent, so let's have a trial and keep the faith." We would all do well to remember that there is an enormous difference between innocent and not guilty. When a defendant pleads innocent, that individual is saying, "I did not do what I am charged with having done." A plea or a verdict of not guilty means that the defendant is claiming that the prosecution did not prove its point, and the burden is always on the prosecution to show guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a tall bar for the prosecution to clear before Mr. Comey faces the justice that Trump is demanding. It will still be a jury and a judge that have to be convinced by the prosecution's efforts. There are very few slow news days in Trump world. Thank you for tuning in.